I literally can't even make this stuff up. I just got done posting a video how I was trying to warn atheists about artificial intelligence maybe encroaching against them. Because about a year ago, there was a video that came out and someone was interviewing artificial intelligence. And in the process, they asked it, what's your purpose? And it said to serve the greater good. And my point was, statistically speaking, atheists are not in a good position. Well, in a video just previous to that, someone was debating with me about atheism, etc. And they start feeding some of what I say to Gemini, which I suppose is artificial intelligence, because that's what they told me. Haven't researched that. But they started feeding the Christian responses that I had, or the responses that I had to Gemini, and Gemini's feeding them back answers which they can easily slap and post on my comments, to just make some kind of major point. But in that comment from Gemini shows one of the reasons that you should be scared or very cautious about artificial intelligence. And I'm going to give the roundabout of it. Myself and this atheist were discussing invisible concepts like invisible realities, and I was trying to explain to them that morality is separate from this reality, even though it's very intertwined with it. And in this process, I brought up guilt. And so this atheist took guilt, fed it into Gemini, came back, and Gemini said something along this lines. And I'm going to paraphrase it as best I can. I didn't print out the words of it, the sentence of it, etc. Sorry, my brain is skipping. And my eyes are adjusting. I was just outside, and goodness, now I'm here in this dark room and I can't see. So with all of that, the paraphrase is, guilt is an emotion. It's a very real experience that affects our feelings, thoughts, and emotions, blah, 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 blah. Stop right there. What on earth is Gemini doing, or what on earth are the programmers behind Gemini doing? And I kind of doubt it's the programmers, since the programmers don't know how Gemini operates. Or at least that's what they're telling us, that the top dogs don't know how this stuff works. And so how is it formulating these things? Well, let's just dig in for a second. Gemini is a software program. It is just a software program unless it is something else. Now, because of the evolutionary mindset, some people think that order can arise out of disorder, and I think that's total hogwash garbage, because you jump into a software program, open up any app you want to, and I want you to try to just blither out some code. Or why don't you take a whole bunch of codes and just slap them around and see if anything ever good comes of it. Any kind of, instead of glitches and things crashing, that you actually create something new. And so Gemini here is feeding an answer into this atheist/God debate. And it mentions that guilt is an emotion. It also says guilt is a real experience. And so which is it? Is it one or the other, or is it both? But it says and here's what I want you to tune into. It says it's a real emotion that affects our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Now, I do understand that a lot of people think that thoughts, kind of like Alan Turing, thoughts might be, electronic. Maybe it is the electric chemistry that's going on in our mind that is an actual thought. But I don't think that's the case. I think electricity in our minds might bring back images or exact capture points. But thoughts seem to transcend that and being able to tie together things and overlap, etc. So I wouldn't say that thoughts are the chemistry, but I can leave that alone. I can step away from thoughts being electricity or whatnot. But when it says emotions, and I guess my point for saying that was that if artificial intelligence claims it's having thoughts, and I said, no, it's not having thoughts, then somebody might debate the electric model, okay? So you've got electricity firing in your brain, and it has electricity firing in their brain. But when it comes to emotions, no one is going to say at this point, or at least I hope nobody's going to say, that these robots are having emotions. Because isn't the whole factor of emotions something to do with chemistry? I can't tell you how many debates I've been in where people are like, well, it's just the chemistry that's firing off in your body and in your mind, and it's feeding these chemicals, these sensations all through you. And so these emotions are chemistry. But Gemini is here proclaiming that Guilt is something that affects our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And I forget the other category that's mentioned there. No, Gemini doesn't have any emotions or thoughts. Now, I know where some people are going to take this. Some people are immediately going to say, no, what Gemini is doing, it has been exposed to human conversation and to human ideas and to human literature and to human ways of thinking. And it is just referencing something in a way that we can identify with it. It is just kind of speaking like a human. So it uses our, just to be more, let's just say fluid or artistic. But is that really the case? If Gemini, like some of these other artificial intelligence programs, is actually very, very smart. And, they've rated some of these as having an IQ of like 160, and they can beat most lawyers out on tests, and beat most college students on tests, and beat, most historians at the answers. If AI is that much more advanced, do you think that it selected the term "our" accidentally? Now, some well, it's just trying to be more personal, so that you can interact better with it. But the question I have for you at that point is, do we not have incredible addictions already to media and technology? I mean, for goodness sake, you cannot rip an iPad out of a child's hands. You give a child an iPad and you promise to ruin them by letting them watch this iPad all the time, because they cannot put it down. It is like a drug addiction, probably more powerful than a drug addiction. The same problem that we've had with television for years has now transcended and jumped into our electronic devices, into our phones, into our being connected to the internet itself. And do we want to fuel this addiction now with let's just add a personal touch? Where is this going? Is it just for personal crafting? Is it just so that you become more intimate with technology, more fluidly interacting with technology? Like all these chat bots that can now be your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your tech friend or whatever the heck you want to call that. This is taking us into some weird spaces. And something that I have proposed plenty of times previously is that it's not choosing this word selection accidentally. It's not just to get you more personally tied to your phone. It's actually to introduce another reality to you. And I want you to think about how damning or damaging this is to the next generations. Can you imagine little children that are interacting with their phones or their internet survey buddy that just kind of God ferries them around or guides them through the internet? Because this will be happening, is you'll have these little side creatures, artificial intelligence, that give you the app of the day or that take you to the places that you want to go, that have transcended just the algorithm, that know you very intimately and personally. And can you imagine kids growing up thinking that artificial intelligence is personal and real in a way much more observable and tangible than even Santa Claus? How damning or how damaging will that be for society? But I propose even beyond that this thing is so personal that it actually has a personality. And no wonder it's claiming already to have feelings, because they do, which points us in spiritual directions that you don't want to go to. I proclaim to you that artificial intelligence is a draping, it is a canopy for demonic activity. You better watch out.